So let's just pretend that I didn't disappear from the internet for like 5,000 years. And if you don't know who I am, even better, yes, this is a Costco sweatshirt. You will probably never got to see the video that I made about my first tattoo because I deleted it because I just didn't like how it turned out. I felt like it was very cringy. In fact, I deleted most of the videos that were originally on my channel because I didn't like how they were, and then I quit posting. That's besides the point. You are here to hear some advice for getting a first tattoo and also being an anxious person at the same time, because that is 100% what I am. Crippling anxiety, fear of needles, did not think that I could do it, and in fact, I absolutely love tattoos. I find it very therapeutic to get them. I have about 8 or 9. I really want more. So let me tell you how I got comfortable with it and maybe some advice that can help you with getting your first tattoo. We're just gonna get straight to the point because if you're anything like me, my attention span is like 5 seconds, and if I don't get the information I need that quickly, I'm done. I blame TikTok, to be honest, but I still keep using it anyway. Very anxious person. Again, fear of needles. I have a very low pain tolerance, and I kind of didn't know how I was going to get a tattoo. I knew I always wanted one, but I was afraid that I was going to panic halfway through or at the beginning, not be able to handle it, faint. I have emetophobia, which is the fear of throwing up, so I was really scared that if I did start feeling queasy, that there was a potential that I could throw up, and that really freaked me out. One thing that really helped me was to make sure that I was at a shop that I felt really comfortable with, because of course you're going to be nervous because it's your first time getting a tattoo, but it's better to be nervous at a place that you feel comfortable in than even more added nerves being at some place that like maybe makes you feel uncomfortable, unsafe. So I did a lot of research with who I was going to go to. Now I live in a smaller town, so there wasn't too many options, but I made sure to ask around, ask for recommendations. You may also feel more comfortable getting tattooed by a female artist. I know there are some horror stories of people getting tattooed by male artists and they feel like very uncomfortable. Maybe the artist has been very inappropriate with them or sexist or rude, things like that. Now I have only gotten tattooed by male artists, but that's only because with the recommendations I got, it was other females that had gotten tattooed by these male artists, and they always felt 100% comfortable, never felt unsafe or anything. So that's why I have chosen to use them. But if you just feel too uncomfortable using a male artist, most of the time shops will have an option of, either a male or female artist. And if they don't, then you may want to keep looking for shops, even if it's a little bit farther out than what you were looking for, just to give that, again, really comfortable experience. Now, if you're anything like me, my anxiety manifests in a way that I overthink everything, and I also think about the worst possible situations. Like if you know the Final Destination movies, that's basically my mind. So I will think of every outcome possible for a situation and then start to overplan on how I can either prevent those situations from happening or what can I do in case those situations do happen. I had looked up everything that like you're supposed to do a week before getting a tattoo, what you should do the night before, what you should do the day of. I was looking at all of those things and I was very prepared, had all my ducks in a row, and yet the day of my tattoo, I woke up like incredibly sick feeling, and it was from nerves. Let me clarify, if you feel sick and you actually are sick, do not go to your tattoo appointment. They will understand if you need to cancel. But I knew mine was anxiety because it was the same symptoms that I normally have when I have a panic attack or when I'm dreading something like going to the dentist. I usually feel sick the day before, the night before, day of, and I know that's because of nerves. Anyway, I almost didn't go because I was freaking out. I was going to actually drive myself. I ended up having my dad drive me because I was afraid, like, what if I get sick in the middle of it? What if I pass out? All of these things. So even though it's very helpful to be prepared, and I completely recommend you reading up on tips on what you need to do, because there's a lot of process for like the aftercare of a tattoo, taking care of it. So it's good to read up on those things, but also try not to let your mind spiral too much about it. I know that's not helpful to say because when I'm in the middle of like having a panic attack or my mind is just going at 1,000,000 miles per hour, it's not easy to just say, okay, don't think about it. But just trying to maybe get your mind on something else, try to busy yourself with other things instead of thinking about, the what ifs of getting a tattoo. Just try to focus on the outcome. Remember why you're going. It's because you're wanting this, whether it's to have a cool new piece of art, whether to have something as a memory, in memory of someone. I think that really helped me try to kind of settle my mind was, it's scary right now, but like once it's over, you're going to absolutely love it. And even if you don't, you can just say that you did it. Even if I hated the experience of getting a tattoo, at least I had done it once in my life. But speaking of what you should do before a tattoo and after, also really helped me with my anxiety, to kind of have a game plan of what I was going to do. Like one of the biggest things was make sure to eat before you go get a tattoo. And that doesn't mean like 5-course meal, go to Golden Corral, eat a buffet. You know, you don't want to be so weighed down with food or have a lot of greasy things, but having something to eat really helps. It also is really good to be hydrated. I am not hydrated at all. Not a hydrated girly, can't drink water. It's not like I drink other things like pop or sweet tea or anything. I just don't drink a lot, but it is very important when you're going to get a tattoo to be hydrated. But when I go to my appointments, I usually have like a 10-piece chicken nugget meal from McDonald's, and then I'll get like a Sprite. Don't know the exact science behind it, so don't like completely quote me on it, but your blood sugar levels change when you get a tattoo, and when they drop when you're getting a tattoo is usually what happens, and that's what leads some people to feel faint or a little bit queasy. So it is important to eat something. I have a good memory of the first time that I got a tattoo, and my tattoo artist was taking a break. He had just gotten done with one person's appointment and was taking a little break before he started on mine, and he actually ran across to the store to get himself and the other workers like something to drink. And he asked if I wanted something, and I was like, sure, I'll take a Sprite. So we did, and it was just like a really nice gesture to do. Not all tattoo artists will do that. Some people do have drinks at their shops, but I just remember that being like a really good memory of having my first tattoo done. I don't know if this is the same for all tattoo shops, but I know for like the ones I have been to, you have to sign a consent form before you get the tattoo done, which that I think is like at every tattoo shop. But specifically the ones that I have signed has you write that like you have eaten something in like the last hour. So obviously it's not just like a personal opinion that you should do that, but it seems like it's a professional one too. Now this is just kind of like a side note. This isn't really a tip on anxiety, but if you're like me, I don't do really well with confrontation, even if it's not necessarily like bad type of confrontation, but like if you leave my fries out of like the order that I got from McDonald's or something, I'm not going to tell you that you did, because I would be afraid that I would sound like a Karen. Like if you cut me in line, I'm not going to like say anything. More than likely, if you do something to me, I'm going to apologize. That's just who I am. It's a little bit better that I'm like that, because if not, then the opposite is me being very aggressive and mad. But it's to a fault, like apologizing to a fault. But being able to speak up for yourself and advocate for yourself is very important in getting tattooed. And what I'm referring to is if you ever go to a tattoo shop, and even if it had really good reviews, but you feel uncomfortable, it is really important that you say like, you know what, I've changed my mind, or no, I don't want to do this. No, there's like this fear of being rude, or like you've already made this appointment, now have you wasted their time? But if you ever feel uncomfortable, do not worry about hurting someone's feelings. If you feel like you need to leave, trust your gut and don't worry about like how you're perceived. Now, luckily I have only had good experiences when I have gotten tattooed, but going back to the whole not speaking up, I have a tattoo that is on my leg. It is a Bo Burnham tattoo, and I absolutely love it. It's to signify one of the songs that was in Bo Burnham's latest special that he created during the pandemic, which is called Inside. Absolutely love it. However, I'm not a big fan of how big it is, and the placement is kind of iffy. Don't regret it at all, but I do wish that I would have been more willing to say like, oh, actually I think I want it smaller. Oh, what if we try it over here? And I had the option to. It is not like the tattoo artist forced me to get it that way, or was like, no, I'm not redoing it. I just felt kind of bad, like, because when you put the stencil on, they let you see it beforehand, or that's what they're supposed to do, and you can go and look at it in a mirror, and you can decide whether you want it there, whether you want it smaller in a different place. They can wipe it off of you, but I had changed it a couple different times, and I was afraid that I was going to seem annoying or like a bother, so eventually I just kind of left it where it was. And again, I still like it, but I do wish if I could go back, I would definitely have spoken up and been like, you know, let's keep trying until I really, really like where it's at. So that's a really important thing, just so that you don't want to end up like regretting your tattoo or not liking it. Most of the time, and hopefully you have a tattoo artist that like will not care at all to do that. Don't worry about like hurting their feelings. Obviously ask in a polite way, or politely say you don't like it. Like, you know, don't be like, no, why would you do that, and put it there. But just be polite, and they're not going to care. And if they do care, then that's probably a red flag that you don't want to be tattooed by that artist. Another thing that really helped me was to have a friend happened when I got my tattoos done. I have had people go with me for my tattoos, for just about everyone except for the ones that I have on my wrist, which you can't see too well, but I'm sure I've included a picture somewhere. But I didn't have anyone go with me on those two because I had already had like 4 or 5 done already, so I felt comfortable enough. But for your first time, you'll definitely want to take someone, whether it's a parent, whether it's a friend, sibling, whoever. It can just help the experience go a little bit smoother. It can help with nerves, because again, you're gonna feel nervous whether you have anxiety or not. It's a big thing. Quick side story, my first tattoo, I actually had someone that was supposed to go with me when I was going to get my first tattoo, and they ended up bailing like last minute. So I did the first process, like getting the tattoo, drawn out, the stencil, all that by myself, and I was definitely very nervous, although my tattoo artist was very friendly. But luckily I had posted something on my Snapchat story that I was about to get one, and there was a friend of mine that was in town, and they were like, do you mind if I come and watch you get it? Like, has it started yet? So I was like, no, it's not. Feel free to come. And it made such a world of difference having them be there, only because it was someone that I could joke around with, talk to, kind of help distract me a little bit from that anxiety that I was feeling. Although you can talk to your tattoo artist, and that is important. You don't want to be rude. But I also get, it causes me a lot of anxiety talking to someone that I don't know. It's nice to have someone there, maybe just to kind of break the ice a little bit. Going back to talking to your tattoo artist, there are some tattoo shops that if you don't feel comfortable talking to them, you can actually request for it to be a silent appointment and neither of you say anything, which I think is really cool. And if that would make you feel more comfortable and less anxious, I would totally look into that, see if that's an option, or if there's a tattoo shop you're specifically wanting to go to but they don't have it anywhere listed that they provide those types of services, you could always call or go in the shop and ask them as well, and they may be able to accommodate with that. Now, the pain of a tattoo sort of depends on where the placement is, how big the tattoo is. Those are really big factors into how much it's going to hurt. Now, again, I have a really big fear of needles. Like, having to get shots, I absolutely hate. So I kind of assumed that a tattoo would be similar, or at least feel sort of like, I had heard it felt like cat scratches or a carpet burn. So I didn't really know what to expect. And I can admit that depending on the placement, it has kind of always felt the same and yet sort of different. For me, it sort of feels like a cat is scratching me, but it also kind of feels like a hot pain. I don't, not like a hot searing, but like it kind of burns a little bit. But again, I actually find it really therapeutic. Now the ones on my wrist didn't hurt hardly at all. It kind of did as it got, again, you can't really see it, but as it got closer to like my bone, it started to hurt a little bit, but luckily I didn't have much there. The one that I have on my forearm did not hurt at all. The one on my back, I think, was the one that was the least amount of pain. The one on my leg, the back of my leg hurt a little bit more. The one on the side of my leg didn't hurt too bad until it got to like I'm not good at science or anatomy. The shin, I don't know. Anyway, I think it's your shin, really hurt. But it wasn't anything that was like, I'm gonna puke, I'm gonna pass out. It just was uncomfortable. Now the one on the back of my leg probably hurt the most, only because it took a really long time to get it done. It took about 3 hours. And I had a lot of anxiety during that because there was a moment of, I can't get up and move if I need to. Like, I'm kind of stuck in this position, but I absolutely love it. And you can ask to get up, and they may say, let me finish this up, and then you can. But where it was like 3 hours long and I had been like drinking to stay hydrated, I had to use the bathroom. So I said, whenever you get a chance, can I get up and use the restroom? And they were like, yeah, which probably helped them too, from having to like lean over, probably helped their back a little bit. But if you do need to use the restroom or even take a break, if you start not feeling good, again, going back to the whole like speaking up for yourself, advocate, feel free to say something, because obviously sometimes you need to use the bathroom and sometimes you need a break as well. So my experience will be different than yours, but one thing that really helped me when you're getting tattooed, it buzzes and you can kind of feel it, and they were like, focus on the vibrations of the needle rather than the pain. And somehow, I don't know how, but somehow that really helped me. I feel like it's not going to make sense until you get one, but you'll feel the vibration, and while it does burn, somehow focusing on that like completely took away the pain. Again, except for if like it was close to a bone, that did hurt. But yeah, again, terrified of needles, wasn't bad at all. I love it. If I could get a tattoo every time I'm stressed, I think it would help like so much. So yeah, that's how I made it through all of my tattoos, despite being really anxious and having a lot of fear over needles and the pain and all that. It's, again, been one of the greatest experiences of my life to get them. I absolutely love tattoos. I feel like they're a good way for me to be able to share my life experiences. Most of my tattoos, if not all of them, like tell a story in one way or another. Some are a little cheesier than others, like kind of Pinteresty. I really like them. I like when people stop and ask me, like, what do my tattoos mean? I know there are some like people that have tattoos that don't like that and find that offensive, but I don't care. And you definitely want to tip your tattoo artist. Please tip them. They're creating such amazing art, doing a good job. Be nice to your tattoo artists, and tip them well, because we're all working and the economy is like wild right now. But yeah, that is some of the advice that I have. If you have any questions that maybe I haven't talked about in this that I've just like forgotten, feel free to comment and I will do my best to answer it. And if it's something that I can't answer, again, if you're looking at a tattoo shop, then feel free to reach out to them. They probably know, well, they do know like a lot more than I do. But again, I'll try to answer any questions that you guys have. I'm hoping to make a lot more videos in the future on how I've been able to do things in life as an anxious girly, with some tips and advice, because I know that that helps me. And it also helps me just feel a little less alone if I see videos that are like talking about people doing daily things despite having a lot of anxiety. If you want to subscribe to see random goulash videos, I can't even tell you what I want to create because I don't know. I'm kind of like Northwest when Katy Perry interviewed her and was like, what do you want to be? And she was like, everything. That's me. So I don't know what my videos are gonna be, but if you want to subscribe, that would be lovely. You'll probably see a lot of my videos in the car too, because I don't have a specific place in my room that has good lighting or that is a good place to film videos, because I've not invested that much in like creating videos because I'm so off and on, and you maybe won't see me for another year. But hopefully these tips could help you, and if you're getting a first tattoo, that's so exciting. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye. Whoop! I used to do that on my old channel, and I don't know if it's too like millennial or not, so also tell me because I'm concerned.